Okay, so we're recording. Yeah, so I'm talking to you about my favourite Bible verse. About an hour before the session, there were 3 of us going to do this session, and about 10 minutes before the session, it was down to 2, and then down to me. So I'm filling a little bit more time than I was anticipating, but that's okay. So I'll talk to you about the verses, and then if you've got any questions, please do ask me questions about them. So I think the first thing to say is asking me for a favourite Bible verse is like saying, what's your favourite song? I can't really say that I've got a favourite, and I think it very much depends on where you are at in your life and what's happening in your life as to what might be your favourite verse. And the other thing to say about that is that as a Christian, I believe that the Bible is the dynamic word of God. So God uses the Bible to speak to us about different things at different times of our lives. So I can read a part of the Bible that I've read umpteen times and think I know really well, and suddenly a verse will jump out to me and I will think, wow, I've never noticed that verse before. I've never read that before. So that would be where I would be coming at it from. So because of that, I've chosen 3 different verses that have an impact on me and that are important to me. So the first verse is from when I was a teenager. I grew up in the church and I was part of the church youth group, and I have a Bible that I've underlined different verses that are really important to me. So this first verse is from the New Testament, and it's from Romans 8. And it says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." So there are 2 things about that. The first thing is that it says that God works for the good of those who love him. So that doesn't mean everything's going to be okay and it's all going to be really easy, but it means that even if things are challenging and tough, God is with me and God is working for the good for me in my life. But it says for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. So that means it's a 2-way thing. It's not just about God, it's about me and God. And it says that I have a responsibility as well, that what is my purpose? I need to find out about the purpose that God is calling me to in my life. So it's about relationship. So it's about God honouring that promise he's made to me, but it's about me honouring the promise that I've made and the commitment that I've made to him. So that's been with me since my teenage years, right through my life. That's really a really important verse to me. And then the second verse that's really significant came to me probably about 10 years ago. And what happened was I was part of a retreat, and part of organising the retreat was that I needed to write some Bible verses in a card for some other people. And I was thinking about a particular person, and I was thinking about a verse from the Bible, and I couldn't find this verse in the Bible anywhere. I knew it was in there somewhere and I just couldn't find it. So I moved on and thought about something else for that person. When I arrived at the retreat and I went to my room and I opened the card that somebody had left for me, it was that verse. It was that verse that I'd been thinking about for somebody else. That was the verse for me. And it was really significant. It was really important to me, and God spoke to me through that verse during that time. And that verse is from the Old Testament of the Bible. It's from Isaiah 49. And it says, "Can a mother forget the baby at her breast and have no compassion on the child she has borne? Though she may forget, I will not forget you. See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. Your walls are ever before me. Your sons hasten back, and those who laid you waste depart from you. Lift up your eyes and look around. All your sons gather and come to you, as surely as I live, declares the Lord." So again, it's that thing about God's promise to be with us, whatever happens. Just like, you know, think about how much a mother loves her baby. God loves us more. God won't forget us. And so much so that every time God looks at the palm of his hands, my name is engraved there. My name is written. So every time God looks at his hands, he sees my name as an individual. I just think that's really important, that God knows each of us and cares and loves each of us like that mother. So as I say, that's probably about 10 years that I've had that one. And then the third one is one that that's been really significant to me more recently, probably through this lockdown time, really. And it's right in Genesis, the beginning of the Bible. And you might know the story, Abraham and Sarah can't have children. And Sarah tells Abraham to go and get his servant Hagar pregnant. And she becomes pregnant, and then Sarah gets really angry and she throws her out into the desert. So Hagar is a servant, but she now has no family to protect her. She's got no shelter. She's got no food. She's exposed to the elements. She's at the lowest point of her life. And at this point, God comes and meets with her. And it says this: she gave this name to the Lord who spoke to her. You are the God who sees me. For she said, I have now seen the one who sees me. I just think that that's really important to me, that this person who was, as far as society was concerned, was a nobody, really. But God came and was with her, and God saw her and knew her. So, and she says, I've seen the one who sees me. And part of that, again, is about the fact that God doesn't forget each one of us, but part of it is thinking about what is our Christian responsibility to people who perhaps, as far as society is concerned, don't have much value. You know, sometimes we value people or we don't value people. But however low, however difficult times are for people, however low they've fallen, God still loves them and they are still redeemable. And actually, what's my responsibility in that? How do I speak up for people who need help in society? How do we speak up for the weakest and the poorest and the most vulnerable in society? And part of my responsibility in my work with families is to think about that, to think about families who have, particularly in this lockdown, who've fallen on hard times through losing employment. So that's, again, like I say, part of my Christian responsibility is how do I not forget those people? So they're the three things that have been significant to me, that influenced me in my Christian walk, and I'm sure there will be more. I hope there will be more to come. I don't know if anybody's got any questions they want to ask about that, or about my engaging with the Bible, or how we talk to children about those things.
I mean, can you tell us a bit more about your church that you go to?
Yes, so I go to a church in Collier Row. It's an Anglican church. It's what we call a low evangelical church. So we don't have sort of lots of liturgy and lots of sort of candles and all those, the symbolism of the church. We do a lot of sung worship. It's a church that, in congregation wise, there's probably 70 to 80 people of all ages. So we're really, really welcoming to children, and try and do things to engage families and children in the church. I don't know if that's the sort of thing you want to know, or do you want to know anything else?
Yeah. So what sort of things do you do? Like, I suppose it's Sunday school. Do you sort of separate out to do? How do you do that sort of work?
Yeah, so we do a bit of both, really. So generally on a Sunday, I mean, obviously we haven't met for ages, but 3 Sundays a month we would have, the children would go out to groups. So the the kind of the primary age children, and then the young people would be in 2 separate groups. Then one of the Sundays a month we have an all age service, so everybody's in together, because I think it's important that we worship together as the whole community, of all age groups. But we also have a couple of things a month outside of Sunday, so a Friday evening and a Saturday morning, where we do some family stuff. Again, at the moment it's on Zoom, but we do a family bedtime prayer. So we read a Bible story together, or I read the story to them. In normal times, if we were meeting, we'd do some craft activities and things together as well, just to respond to the Bible and just talk about what we, you know, ask the children what they think about the story, what they get out of it.
That's good.
Thank you. Anybody else in the 4 minutes we've got left? I do try to read my Bible every day. I don't always read a book form. I very often use my phone now, or my iPad. I've got Bibles on there. I haven't actually read all of the Bible. I have listened to it all. David Suchet does a very good reading of the whole Bible, so I have listened to it all. And I do try to sort of engage with the study of the Bible to try and understand the context of the Bible settings as well.
Yeah, you explained that well. I was thinking we do that topic. I think it's year 2, isn't it? I was thinking, oh yeah, if you'd have been talking to the children, that would have been really good.
I'm probably more used to talking to the children than adults about it, and I've got the children in my mind as well. I spent a lot of years I was a primary teacher at one point, and I also worked in a cathedral as an education officer, so spent a lot of years talking to children about this sort of thing. And I can't say that I understand all the Bible either. There are bits that are just really challenging and that just really I don't understand and throw up more questions than answers about God.
How does you know, the vicar normally reads the Bible in church every week. Is there a structure to how that, or an order? Because presumably he doesn't read it in from beginning to end, does he?
No. So certainly in the Anglican Church, and not all Anglican churches use it, there is what we call the lectionary. So the church sets out readings for the whole year, and there's a year A, B, and C. So the lectionary will go round, and there are lots of different. So there'll be a psalm, there'll be a gospel reading, an Old Testament reading, a New Testament reading. You might not read them all on a Sunday. You might just pick out the psalm or the gospel reading in particular. So yeah, there is a set, but as I say, not all churches, not even all Anglican churches, do stick to that. But it is set so that perhaps the psalm and the Old Testament and the New Testament reading will have a sort of theme. They'll be linked somehow, because there's lots of linking back and forth in the Bible as well. And it won't always be the vicar who reads it. Sometimes members of the congregation will read it as well. And certainly in our church, we would encourage children to be doing that as well.